Okay, hey everybody. Back again today with Ant-Man. It's going to be the Scott Lang version, as the description says, and that's where we're going to go with it. Let's see here. I left this one a little raw in comparison to what I normally do because I got asked to do a little bit more of the layout as I went along. So it's going to be a hybrid version because I'm not exactly sure about the details on the suit because I haven't referenced it. My bad. But we're gonna knock it out as best I can and make it happen. This suit's pretty forgiving. I mean, I'm gonna go for a movie version of the suit, uh, and I know what it looks like, so just not exactly. So we're gonna get an artistic interpretation here. Put my spin on it and see how things happen. Thank you guys so much for turning out the way you did yesterday for the late night piece that I did of the DC trio, the world's finest Trinity. Loved doing that piece. I'm going to show you guys, if you haven't seen it already, I'm going to show you guys a sneak peek of it in progress here pretty quick. It's going to be pretty cool. I got it all inked up. I'm letting the ink set as we are doing this card here, just so that we can see what's going on with that. If you see me glancing away here, it's to make sure that the camera's working. I don't want any glitches or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and shape in the helmet here. And I forget. There I go, heavy snapping the lid off. Um, I forget that my camera autofocuses. So if you guys saw the video from yesterday, it was funny because I was laughing because every time I would move the camera, I forgot that it would autofocus, and I remembered halfway through, and I was cracking up because of the fact that it was autofocusing, trying to keep up with me moving the card around and the camera around and stuff, and it was funny. Um, and as I watched it back this morning, I was like, you know what? I didn't think about the autofocus again, and I wanted to see how bad it was last night. It was funny. But yeah, I'll be sure to give it a chance to autofocus for you guys and catch up. That busted me up. This is live, and this is what you get. This is what I do. So um, I found it highly amusing, and you can't take this stuff too seriously. I mean, if you can't have fun with it, then why do you do it? And I look at social media the same way, and I work in it professionally. So um, believe me, I take note of everything, and it just cracks me up to no end. Okay. Let's see here. I think I got that about right. I'm going to leave this open so I can sketch it in a little more than usual because I want to make sure of what's going on. Put in that little bitty tiny nose ridge right in there, and then this big piece sticks out in the front. Like a face. Which the cool thing is, this tech suit, allows a lot of forgiveness to my style because it's a more of an animated open style. So I get to play with this thing a lot more than most people do as far as the look and edge to peel and all that, and can make a cool variation of it. Because I know this is all one piece, but I like segmenting it just to make it look more tech. And it also allows me to do my infamous rib line right there and right there to barrel that off. So, and this character's literally a lot tinier than I normally draw. Not a pun. I don't normally draw full figures on these cards because they're so small. But yeah, in this particular case, it's even more so of an extreme. Now we got to cut in the old belt right here. Boom. And I try not to get too picky with this stuff. You know, it's not like drawing comics as much as, you know, that professional rein in of, you know, pull it all in and do the details and all that. You get to have more fun with these sketch cards. And I find when I stress out about them too much, it takes the fun out of them. And that's, yeah, that's not what this is about. But granted, I want to do the best possible. However, I don't want to overkill it where it's no fun. Going with the old school Ant-Man belt, which used to be segmented. Hank Pym used to wear one that had compartments in it that kept extra fuel bombs, growth darts, and all that stuff that he used to carry in it. Scott Lang doesn't carry the growth darts anymore. He carries those growth disc now, and it's a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and cut in all the uniform here first before I go and put in all the details, because I don't want to leave anything out and make it look funky from the anatomy. That would be horrible. Now, right where this knee starts, though, like this one, I have to make the exception. I have to draw in the knee covers for the suit itself, which block the knees. Which is funny. That's some artist idea of trying to, you know, it looks like Flex Seal, but the thing is that it makes it easier for them to draw later and cheat the knees. That's what that is. Like, I'll do that right now. And with this tubing and stuff they do, this flex tubing like this, it's an old throwback to the 60s style spacesuits, as well as the avoidance of drawing knees. Because that's what a lot of those old guys used to do, is put in the squiggles like that to prevent them from having to draw anything that they didn't want to. That's also the reason they had the big toes on the boots, you know, the big old olive oil feet from the Popeye cartoons. The reason she wore big clown shoes is because they hated drawing feet on her. Everybody in that cartoon has great big feet. That's not an aesthetic thing. They did that because of the fact that they didn't want to have to draw those feet. They wanted anybody to come in as an animator for the series and draw those feet and be able to do that. So they cut those corners like that. Now, you're not going to see a whole lot of the sole here, just an edge, because I don't want to monkey up the dynamic of the feet. But I know he's got these new belt buckles that go around to seal his boots in. And like I said, we'll get more detailed into that in a minute. But right now, I just want to shape everything in and get it all nice and popped in so we have everything going on. I want to put the edge of that foot shadow right there where it curves back for the heel, but you can't see it because of the angle we're at. Now I'm going to cut in this other arm. And Scott's not a big guy, even though I give him bubble shoulders, because I've always given Ant-Man that with this new armor. And I've only drawn it a few times, but I always give the bubble shoulder because I think it just looks more aesthetically cool. Try not to cut over that wrist here. Put in that that tech band. We want the tech band. He can't shrink without that. These gauntlets or wristbands that he has are where the control triggers are. They come in and out of there. And when I'm down to it, I'll draw in the little compartment right there for where they come out, so everybody can see that. But yep, this is Ant-Man. He's coming along a lot better than I thought he would. It could be so much worse, because like I said, I didn't look up reference when I did this. I just did it. I could have at least gotten off my butt and gotten the DVD case out of the shelf. Sorry. Just see people looking at it. That's not my Ant-Man. Who is that guy? And as we all know, the comic book version morphs quite a bit in comparison to what goes on with everything else. You know, each artist that gets a hold of it draws in a different way for the costume and whatnot. There's that red patch on the arm there. We won't see but a little bit of it on this side, so I'll sketch that in like that. Then we'll go back to the live wire that runs through the suit to engage it. And I'll pop that off a little bit so that it separates from that. Now here's his shoulder up here, and we've got to draw in a little bit of that right there so we can see, because he's got those funky tech ridges that run around the edge of his suit right there. I want to make sure all of that gets in. There we go. And the ones that run down his back. I'm going to put that on this side. So now we have pretty much the basic layout for Ant-Man, except for the fact that I think these go down here like this and then run off and make those red patches on the leg. If they don't, they do now. In this version, they do. So, you know, this is a good example. Whenever you're drawing this stuff, don't freak out if you don't know the exact details of the suit. Make your own rendition and pull it out, you know, have fun with it. It doesn't have to be exact. It's the interpretation and the influence of what you're doing for the most part, okay? I see a lot of guys that'll go off and just freak out about this stuff. Now I'm going to put these lower knee pad panels down here because there are knee pads right below that come out more prominently as he shrinks for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe that's something to do with the suit. But anyway, there's little red tags that come out down here, and I remember those plates being there at the bottom. I don't know if they're aesthetic details or if there's actually something to them. And I'm going to make the boots look a little cool with a little detailing. And that's where we're going to leave him at right now for Ant-Man. Now I'm going to go ahead and detail him out and flesh him up a little bit. And the cool thing about this suit is it's form-fitting to Scott, to his body underneath, but it doesn't show off the anatomy. quite as bad or quite as ripped as a lot of heroes. So you can play with this a lot more and get a lot of fun angles and lights, light marks and shadow marks and stuff like that out of the character, because it's just got that thing going on about it. It's got that feel about it. So, I mean, you can shadow all this in, or you can leave it open, or however you want to do it. Well, whatever you pick, just make sure you pick one method and go with it, so you don't mess it up and make it look weird. Because a lot of people try to do different textures and things on it because they have the opportunity, and it's one of those things where, are you going to color it in or you not? Don't leave them guessing, because that breaks the illusion of the art and will mess their heads up. So like here, because of the way the shadow's coming off, I'm going to put that little rim for the backlighting, and then I'm going to go right in here, and I'll leave that spot right there for the front of the leg to shine and be nice and clean. So right down here again, I'm going to leave that little spot on the back. I'm going to go down front, leave a little spot there to separate from the ant. Block out the boot a little bit. This one's very forgiving with the shadows because, like I said, it's not really shiny, but it's not light resistant either. It's not solid black to where it's light resistant either. So it allows you to play with a lot of this stuff and go in and change it up. So mix it up and have fun with him. You don't get to do that a lot, There's a lot of characters and everything is all locked in and detail required and detail tight and whatnot, and a lot of artists get technical, and it's no fun at that point. When you get that technical with it, there's nothing left for you to do, so why bother? If you get a character so technically sound, even Iron Man would change from artist to artist because of the fact that everybody would take their little personal movements on him or quips on him, or little influential marks, and then it would stick from artist to artist and change up and move around, where a lot of times you had some people that wouldn't even draw him because of the fact that he was so technically savvy, and the character was based on that, and they wanted everything to reflect that, so it was perfect. And if you're going to go in and draw in that level, then make sure you do it right and know what you're doing. But otherwise, just have fun with it and be light. There's no need to be that serious. Comics are supposed to be about fantasy, and especially with Iron Man as the example, because Iron Man and Ant-Man are constantly changing. They're constantly upgrading their suits. That's the reason Henry Pym would go in, and you'd see him in one issue of the Avengers and he'd be in a red suit. You'd see him in another version of the Avengers and you'd see him in a red and blue suit, and he'd kind of look like the Atom from DC. It just depended on what was going on. You'd see him in a red and black suit with an ant on his chest like Spider-Man. It just depends on what was going on at the time and who wanted to change him up. Also depended on what they needed him to do, because the new suit, the red and blue suit, would actually grow into Giant Man, where the Ant-Man original suit with the black, the red unitard with the black trunks, the black or the blue trunks, and the big ant on the chest, that one would grow where the original solid red suit wouldn't. And he was perfecting the technology to grow up instead of just up and out. And I remember first seeing the old Avengers with Ant-Man in it, and some of those original books were just phenomenal, because he would be 60 foot tall and have the antenna on top of his head, and it's like, I'm not Ant-Man, I'm the Tick, because he would run around with that kind of prowess and that kind of sense of humor. And anybody that knows the Henry Pym character, Hank Pym was not a nice person. he was a hero, but he was not a nice person. He was like the original Deadpool cynic type of hero. He was very cynical in the way he was. Going to put in these meters right there. Pop in a couple of slots there. And now under here, I'm going to put in these ports for the hand, the growth chargers. Now in the old costume, he used to hit his belt. He would mess with the dial on his belt, and that's what would shrink him. And now he's got these triggers from the movie version, which is really cool. One of my favorite Marvel movies so far, out of the Marvel Disney run. I love the Ant-Man film. It's still one of my favorites. And a lot of people didn't like it. I did a podcast special edition on it and spoiled it 10 ways from Sunday because I enjoyed it so much. I really did. I got special premiere passes, and it was phenomenal. Just great. And if you disagree, that's okay. I'm cool with that. That's okay. But for me, Ant-Man really brought it home for the next wave of Marvel characters to come out. Let's see here. I'm going to cut in this hand. He's got kind of this pad action going on right here. And I don't remember if it runs down that side or not, but we're going to put it in there anyway. Because I want it to look cool. But drawing that main thumb knuckle there, that thumb joint. And at this angle, we wouldn't see much more of the hand. I'll black that out underneath that wrist there. Now I'm going to get down here and get some ant action going on. And draw right here with the side of his head. Put in the massive mandibles that go down the cheeks. Those things are huge. In comparison, an ant is just, it's an anatomical. Tongue-tied. Hello. Live action. Anatomical creature that just is phenomenal. It is it's an absolute, pardon the pun, marvel. There's no other way to put it. I've loved the study of ants since I was a kid, and this is one of my favorite creatures on the planet. One of the most annoying that I know of as well, but still one of the universally most sound creatures on the planet, and people don't give them credit. I'm going to draw in these weird little hair follicles that ants have, which are taste receptors for everything that they eat. Everything they eat goes through that sensory array. Pretty cool. Gonna kind of, I don't want to give him a mustache or give him alligator nostrils or anything weird like that. Just drawing in a couple of shell details because their shells grow kind of like our fingernails do, and they have this this wrinkled age process where they go through and put in these little lines, and when you look at them, they look wet because it's a ripple effect across the light. But what it actually is it's reflecting because of the fact that those ripples are shiny as they grow. The exoskeleton has kind of a polish to it. I'm going to put this big old eye in here. I was going to leave it open and color it, but I think I'll just shade it out. Just get it done so it shows up. And there's normally a lot more detail in these mandibles, but like I said, this being so small, I don't want to over detail it and end up ruining the look. So I'll leave it like that. But what I am going to do is put in these little dots, because they have these little growth markers that it's the equivalent to ants' versions of freckles, to put it as easy as possible. Now I'm going to go in and draw in these tile lines. And yes, I am going to freehand these like a knucklehead. But my hand's pretty steady, so I'm going to give it a shot here. Okay. It's like he's standing on the kitchen counter. So he's waving up at you there. Okay. All right. Put in a little bit of shadow work for these fingers. Not much, because again, they have that foil look like the rest of the suit. And that one went off kind of quick. Here we go. We have the Ant-Man and Anthony guest starring as well. So let me see what's up for tomorrow. This is you're gonna have to show up to see this one, because I've got a special one on the list, and I want to find out what's going on with it. And I don't know what incarnation I'm gonna do yet. I'll make a post tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'll let you guys see about picking it out and see what you want to see. It's the Falcon. I want to see if you guys want to see the original, one of the red and white suits, one of the green and yellow suits, the Sam Wilson Captain America version. What do you guys want to see? I'm going to let you have a vote on it, and we're going to see how we do. Hopefully we'll get good feedback on it. But that's it for me today. Thanks very much for hanging out. I'll post it again. One more thing real quick. I do want to run by this guy for you, so you guys can see Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. Just a quick glimpse at this Trinity, so that we can get it done. I'm going to clean it up once the ink sets here in a bit, and go ahead and get that guy colored up, and we'll see where it goes from there. But as of now, thank you so much. Thanks for the big turnout yesterday. It was huge. I appreciate you guys coming on and checking it out, and I'll catch you tomorrow.